Welcome to the Dying is Easy podcast, a show about stand-up comedy. My name is Mike Calcagno, and alongside with me is...
John Ziegler.
Why is dying easy? Because comedy is hard. I have to edit out you going in the intro.
What? Did I make a noise?
Yeah, of course. Every fucking time. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Dying is Easy podcast. We're live here at the boardroom. Email us at dyingiseasypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube.
I know all the platforms.
I think Amazon.
No, it's not. You don't share Amazon.
Something funny happened today. I can't think of it now.
Oh, that's great. That was good.
No, it was like I was in a Zoom meeting earlier today, and when you're in a meeting, you know, it's funny when the person that's talking, the other people just nod, like just that funny, like that nodding, like you're listening, you're agreeing with it.
That's fake listening.
It's total. I wasn't listening at all to this person, and we're all just nodding.
I told you when I was 100 years ago, when I was a drug counselor, they teach you that.
It's called like empathy, right? Is that?
Yeah, you would learn like empathy. So they taught me how to nod.
Yeah.
If somebody was saying something really bad, they taught me when to lean in. To physically lean in.
Yep.
And then I would just, like my counseling trick was whatever you would say to me, like, I have a really bad day at work and I talk to my wife and I don't think she understands it. And I would just lean in, nod, and be like, so sometimes work is hard and you talk to your wife and you don't feel like she understands you. And you're like, this guy's amazing. Like that was counseling.
Well, that's what I do. Like if my boss at work, like if he gives me like a list of things to do, I just, I don't want to talk about work. All right.
Viewer mail?
Yeah, viewer mail.
You're off your game.
You're
really off your game.
You know what?
You're really off your game.
I came home. I had the Zoom meeting. I had to cook dinner. My house is being demoed, so I got a lot going on here. Viewer mail. We have a couple questions. As always, we love the fan mail. Email us dyingiseasypodcast@gmail.com. First question comes from one of our favorite fans here. It's from Kitty. The subject is on stage. If you were guaranteed to get more laughs by wearing a nerdy suit and tie while doing your act on stage, would you do it?
No. There are people who would, because there are people, like, there's people like
the googly eyes?
Anything goofy.
The fake mustache,
like
the nose?
Peacocking, any gimmick. Like, there's people who want to be famous, and there's people who want to be stand-ups. Like, I want to be a stand-up.
Right, no money, struggling.
Yeah, I'm living the dream. But you know what I mean?
Have a full-time job, yeah.
I want to, like, take this, like, I don't want to be famous for the sake of being famous. So, like, if I was famous because I'm the guy with the goofy wig, with the catchphrase,
I know a lot of guys with goofy wigs.
Yeah, but I don't want to be that. So, no, I would never do that. That's a great episode of Louie, by the way. You ever watch the show Louie? It's very inside.
I have.
It's so inside.
I have. I've seen Louie. I never really fell in love with it. Like, I didn't.
Well, there's an episode where he's at the cellar and there's an open mic and somebody asked Louie to host the open mic. He's like, I don't want to host it. So he hosts the open mic and like some 17-year-old kid's like, hey, Mr. CK, can you watch my act and tell me what you think? And he's like, I don't want to. The kid goes up and bombs. And he's like, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? He goes, I don't know. Maybe next time do the act, but like say it in a goofy voice. And like they fast forward 2 months later, Louie's watching The Tonight Show and they bring out the kid and he's like, so I went to the zoo today.
That's funny.
Louie's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Well,
it's not that far off.
Actually, that's the world we live in now. Like that's foreshadowing.
I mean. It was Louie kind of mocking.
TikTok. Yeah.
He was kind of mocking that.
People on TikTok telling jokes now, you know.
So the answer is no. I have some integrity.
Yeah, I get embarrassed doing my own material. So now I'm going to wear a funny hat. I don't know. All right. Next question comes from Dawn. I think she's written the show before, right?
She might have.
In your opinion, what current phenomena? Pneumonia?
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
It's like those Muppets. Phenomena.
What does that say?
Phenomena.
That's not a word.
It is.
Phenomena? Phenomenon is the word.
Phenomena.
In your opinion, what current phenomenon?
Yeah, that's it. There's an N and an N?
Yeah, but she wrote Phenomena.
Phenomena.
I don't think that's the word.
think it is. All right. So what was the rest of it?
I don't know. That's the subject of the question.
Okay, after phenomena, what's the rest of it?
In your opinion, what current phenomena should never be the subject of a comedian's act? What the fuck does phenomena mean?
Like a current thing. Like what? Something current. In
like coronavirus?
Like coronavirus. Yeah, that's an example. Coronavirus, Black Lives Matter, whatever's politics. I think you can talk about anything. I don't want it to be hacky, so I'm not going to spend 20 minutes talking about coronavirus unless it's a really unique take. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to do I was locked in the house. I couldn't get a haircut. Are you Googling phenomena?
Yeah. So Google wants the word to be phenomenal.
No.
Yeah, I don't. You can talk about anything. I don't. Here's the thing.
I avoid politics because it's so hostile right now. It's not a normal time. Like you can make fun of Trump and nobody really gives a shit. Especially on Long Island they may, but in other places, they're like, they're not even jokes. They're just Trump bashing. But if you say anything pro-Trump, you're going to have a backlash.
Yep.
You just are. So it's not worth it unless you have a really...
Well, that's why it's tough to ask us. I've heard going to open mics every day for 5.5 years. The things I've heard that people say into a microphone, nothing shocks me. Nothing.
Yeah, there's a reason 99% of those people will never get past open mics.
Right, but that's
tacky, shock shit, just unoriginal.
If you ask, let's say the average person, they're going to have a checklist of shit that, no, he can't talk about that. That guy, you can't talk about that.
Talk about whatever you want, just make it original and make it funny.
Make it funny. If it's funny, you
better be ready to hang in the pocket. You got to be a strong comic to commit to what if you're going to do a Black Lives Matter joke, you better be ready that there's going to be some offense. Some people are going to be, I'm offended.
Yeah.
So as long as you can handle it. Like, you think Jeselnik's not going to talk about that?
That's a different example, though. He's like grandfathered in. Like, he's the guy. I can't just start doing Jeselnik jokes. I'll get fucking... I'll never work again.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. But even like, girls like Burr and Louie, they're going to talk about that kind of stuff. They'll have a viewpoint on it.
Yeah, but they have nothing to lose. Well,
I know
actually about $25 million for Louie, but...
Louie can talk about whatever he wants. Just, you got to, got to do it with your pants up.
Yeah.
So, all right. What else we got?
We have... This question comes sent from Yahoo Mail for iPhone. If you were to write an autobiography, what would the title be? I need 6 months to think of this answer. If you were to write an autobiography, what would the title be?
Ziegler. I like that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Ziegler. It's like Heisenberg.
Parmesanadon.
It's like, that would be good. Parmesanadon.
The Mike Calcagno story.
Parmesanadon. The Mike Calcagno style. I like
just
that.
Me with a gun in my mouth. I don't know. I have to answer this question next week.
My book the cover's all black and a bold white letters just says Ziegler. It's like Heisenberg. I like it.
Mine is Parmesanadon spelt with spaghetti with bucatini.
With bucatini. Spelled out in bucatini.
Bucatini pasta.
That's good. I would read either one of those books. I'd buy Ziegler. Parmesanadon, I think, would skyrocket to the top of the New York Times.
This was like 10 years ago where I wrote a naughty children's book. Every other word was like dick and penis and balls.
Did it have a name?
I think it was like the big hairy cock or something.
I think that should be your autobiography, actually. I think the
big hairy cock.
Yeah, I would. All right, what else we got?
I hear Rivy outside the door, so
that's not good.
That's not good.
Go ahead.
Next question comes from Sent. Yeah, no.
By the way, how much have I changed on this? Because we started, I was so worried about everything's got to be perfect now. And then you're like, my dog's outside. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I don't care if he jumps on the table. Okay, go ahead.
Next question comes from Dawn. We have a lot of questions this week from Dawn.
I think work's been slow for Dawn. I don't think she has a lot going on during the day.
You're on death row.
That's the whole thing.
You're dying. You're arrested for murder. You're on death row.
Uh-huh.
What would your last meal be, bucatini? What would your last meal be, and who is the last person you'd want to see?
My last meal is probably what I eat all the time anyway. Like, I like chicken. First of all, I don't have to worry about
macaroni and cheese.
I don't have to worry about being fattening. Like, I have vanity. So when I'm done, if I'm on death row, I guess I can carb up. So chicken cutlet parm with like garlic. I never eat garlic bread. I love garlic knots, garlic bread. Like, that's probably it. Maybe I go crazy and get shrimp parmesan, but it's not going to be that fancy.
I think I'm going raviolis.
Just plain ravioli?
Well, with sauce, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
just basic cheese or like a lobster ravioli. You can fancy it up. You're dying.
No, not to be corny, my mom's ravioli.
All right.
Like my mom's sauce and ravioli. I think that's it.
And who's the person you're saying? Is your mom bringing you the ravioli?
I hope not. Who's the last person I ever see? Is that's
Yeah. Now, like, I'm going to exclude Dawn.
Yeah,
she wrote the question.
I
and you're going to, you know.
It's going to be, I have to pick Jamie, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd want to see.
Probably my dog.
I might be Truson because I think it would be funny if I was going to
That is
death
funny.
row. Truson would just be like, yeah, baby.
Yeah. Light them up.
Light them up, baby. That would be pretty. Like, I'd be laughing as they strap the head
That would
thing
be
on my
kinda
head.
funny.
Yeah. Just Truson with a wet
Maybe
sponge.
my high school
like dabbing
football
my
coach.
temples with
Yeah.
a sponge. Truson.
I think maybe my high school football coach.
just to
Because
humiliate
he
you.
would call me a pussy before it.
Yeah, like something like that.
The last thing I would hear is Calcagno, you're a pussy, and then I would get electrocuted or whatever. They do the injection now, right? Now it's like when was electrocution banned?
I think
60 years ago.
I think they do it in Texas once every 3 years.
That's what was going by.
All right, what other questions we have?
Like it's Green Mile.
We haven't even got to the signs question yet. And these
This
are
is it.
ridiculous.
This is it.
We're up. That's it. That's all the questions we
That's
have.
it. Really bad this week. Really bad.
Go ahead.
Next question comes from Jamie. This is our weekly science question. She says, actually, I think I can answer this one.
I don't think you can, but go ahead.
What are the reactants and products of photosynthesis? Okay, you know what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when a plant.
Yes.
It's when the greening of plants.
No, I think it's oxygen.
We think every question is oxygen. Every answer we think is oxygen. Every week, what does a cicada do? Oxygen.
I think it's photosynthesis.
No, what are the reactants and products of photosynthesis? The reactant is the plant absorbs the sunlight, and
I think you're right.
And the product.
I think it's oxygen.
The reactant, no,
Plants give you oxygen.
they give you carbon.
No,
Carbon.
carbon monoxide is poison.
Oh, we give them carbon monoxide.
We breathe out carbon monoxide. We breathe in oxygen.
Wait, it's not monoxide.
Carbon dioxide?
Carbon dioxide.
What's carbon monoxide?
The death,
Carbon dioxide.
which is what's happening right now. Hopefully, in my house.
It's so fucking hot in here. This could be.
It's like 40 degrees out. It's fucking 90,000 in here.
It's like the LA fires are outside.
Yeah,
your
we're having a gender reveal party in the
Cool.
yard. Is that how it really started? It's a gender reveal party set the entire state of California on fire?
I believe so.
It's like this fucking year.
Is that all our questions?
Yeah.
People, you guys are slacking.
Yeah, now we got to work.
Yeah. So
Now we have to
talk about shit.
Now we got to talk about our stupid 2 topics before new bits.
Well, we had a show Saturday night.
Yeah, we had a show. Actually, I got to say, the little stage time I've done a couple outdoor shows. They've all been pretty good. This might have been the best one.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, this might have been the best one.
They're good. I told you, they're good people. So
Yeah.
I take jiu-jitsu, and obviously jiu-jitsu's closed right now, but I've kind of reconnected with the guys. And I mentioned doing a show at one of the guys' houses. That we would just put on a show. We're dying to work someplace.
If you're listening, we'll do a show in your backyard.
Yeah, we'll come to your backyard and do a show.
I don't care.
You got to get 20 people and buy us pizza. It's pretty much our deal. So
And
anyway,
maybe have a pool.
yeah, so these guys organized the show, and they got a good, what'd you say, 25 people?
Sure.
About 25 people, and one guy is a sound engineer who's basically out of work.
You got to be a sound engineer also.
One of you guys have to be a sound
I love
engineer.
how we're looking at the board.
Yeah, we're talking to somebody. So he was going to bring, because he was going to put us up on that ledge.
Okay.
He was going to have a stand up on, the brick thing behind us?
Yeah.
Stand on there like a stage. And he was bringing foot lightings to shine upwards. He was making a stage out of that concrete ledge.
There was a couple of comics that on the show that probably couldn't have made it up there.
Me being one of them, I get vertigo. I don't like that. That was narrow. I wouldn't have wanted to stand on there the whole time.
But it was legit. I mean, it was nice.
I had a good crew of comics with everybody I booked. And I got the feedback afterwards. They said, you guys all had different styles, which I did on purpose. Booking Neil and then Scott, really different.
Yeah.
But both funny and both can work in that. Not every comic can do that.
Yep.
It's different being in a club where everything's conducive, like being in a backyard where you could bomb. We had a house next to us playing rap music that was with the bass drop pretty low, and there's outside sound effects. It's a little distracting. You need good comics who can tune that out and just kind of power through. Like Rooney did great, Scott did great, DeVito's obviously DeVito. It was a good show.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So
everybody did for the most part new material too, which was kind of cool.
I'm wondering with these outdoor shows, they've all kind of passed my expectations. Like it's almost like before coronavirus, doing an outdoor gig was a hell gig. And
still a hell gig. But our bar's just been put very low. It's still a hell. It's still not. If this is what it was, if this is what comedy was, I would quit. I do it now because I gotta get reps and I gotta work on material. But if this is the future of comedy, I would not want to do this anymore. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is that the shows are good. Like the people are actually they're laughing.
No, they were a fun group. They had a good time.
I wonder if are they desperate too? I'm not one of these guys that I don't think laughter is the best medicine at all. Money's the best medicine of all.
One thing I get, I hate Cuomo, but one thing he came out with, he's not opening comedy again. Yeah. One thing he said, and I did agree with him. He was like, because of the density of comedy clubs and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, it's not essential.
It's not that good.
He goes, it's not essential.
Yeah, it's not.
And part of me would be like, no, it's essential. Laughter is. And I'm like, no, food and water are essential.
Yeah, dick jokes.
My money jokes, my 40 for $1.99. Nobody's like, this is what I've needed in my life these last 6 months. It's not essential.
I love all these comedians that we really help people, man. Like they have these work weeks. They come home with with their shitty marriage. They come see our show to relax and cut back. Like, no,
that's what scotch is for.
Yeah, nobody.
And edibles.
I'm not changing anybody's life with my 7-minute act.
Not. They have a good time. They enjoy it. People like to laugh. That's great.
And then they forget about it and go to a comedy club, and 7 years from now they go back.
Yeah. But there's so much content you can get online or on TV. Like people want to watch comedy. There's plenty of content out there. They don't need me.
But what is making me second guess that is their laugh, like the outdoor hell gig that I imagine is no longer a hell gig.
No, they're having a good time. This was a good show, and. Look, it would have been better if we all brought our A games and did our acts because they don't see our, but I think everybody did really well. And it was, there's no budget for the comics.
Yeah.
So I can't tell comics, bring it, it has to be productive for the comedian. They're doing me a favor, but this was a favor to me for guys to come out and help me out and do the show. And they got stage time, but I'm like, workshop, do what you make this productive for you.
Well, you hired guys that I knew when to work in a new bit.
Yes.
I knew when to go back to some of the hits.
DeVito did 20 minutes. It was 15 minutes of new bits. And then he did 5 minutes of some dating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did it perfectly. Same thing with Rooney, Scott. It was a fun show. People had a good time. I was happy for myself. And I had notes. When you ever see me, I've had notes on stage since I was an open mic. I brought notes because I did time myself. I did 17 minutes and a few seconds. And I don't think I did a joke for my act. 17 minutes of new material is a lot of material.
Yeah.
Especially in an atmosphere where you're not getting big laughs. You're not pausing and waiting on your laughs. Mm-hmm. So, it feels good to know that during this lockdown, going to these shitty open mics and writing and doing this podcast, you're like, what am I? And then when you get 17, you go, oh, there's some fruits to this work. It paid off. I got some shit out of it that if clubs ever do come back,
you got stuff, yeah.
I have some new stuff that I'm looking for. I can't wait to be in front of 300 people. You know what I mean? With tight, I can't wait for that.
That's that idea is just so removed from my head, though.
Yeah, Bobby's been posting pictures of theaters and old pictures, Bobby Collins. And he's like, I'll be back. And I'm looking, I'm like, I hope. I look at those theaters, I'm like, will I ever do that again?
That's what, we were talking to Rooney this past week, who was a guest. He was like, I think the days of me walking into a packed club, people shoulder to shoulder, I think those are done.
Yeah, but that's what comedy is. Comedy spaced out is just it's not the same. You have to be in a you go to the cellar. It's 8-foot ceilings. People are packed in. That's how comedy works.
Yeah,
live comedy. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna be spaced out like that, you might as well stream it on your internet and watch. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing of live comedy is one, you don't know what's gonna be. There's an energy there's a flow. You've been on stages in front of packed crowds.
Yeah,
and there's an unpredictability to it. There is a definite energy. It's like watching sports. You watch football? You watch the games this week at all?
Yeah, I did.
It's no fans.
Yeah.
Like, the game's good. I'm watching football, but, like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, okay, yeah. To your point where I am watching it at home, though. I don't really find the difference. But if I was there, it'd be fucking awkward as shit.
You don't feel the difference?
Not really. They pump in the crowd noise. Not really.
Yeah, I see. I do. Like, I'm a Bills fan, so I watched the Bills beat up on the Jets, and there was just no
horrific.
3rd and 9. There's no audience going crazy trying to like blitz. It's a different energy.
Yeah,
I definitely don't like it as much. All right, what was our next topic? We had another topic.
You know what? I it's right. It's joke thieves, but this just came to me. I was doing a show. We want to talk about joke thieves versus like parallel thinking, but there are legitimately people that steal jokes.
Yep.
I was doing a show and another comic. This might have just happened before the pandemic. This was like in like March. Another comic was like, "Hey, don't do your A stuff because there's a guy in the crowd who's going to watch your
and steal your shit
material and do it on the road." And I was like, could you imagine fucking doing that? Could you imagine taking people's shit?
It happened to me. Somebody did it to me.
And doing it on the road. Like,
when I did that Mohegan Sun contest, I ran a new bit that was it's in my act now. It's like a pretty good bit. I did it at like the Belmore Bean comedy night, open mic.
Somebody took it.
Somebody came to me after and said, "Hey, that bit you did, it's a really funny bit." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And then they did an audition for the Mohegan Sun contest, and I had friends there who were calling me up and go, "There's a guy here doing your bit."
There's a guy says that bacon and eggs.
Yeah, there's a guy doing your bit. And I'm like, "Who is it?" And they told me, and I'm like, "He just saw me do it 7 days ago and told me how great it was." Like, it was in Connecticut though. I guess he figured I'm never going to hear about it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, well,
Ziegler knows everything. except for the USB cable that fucking took a shit.
As long as it doesn't involve a USB cable.
Yeah. I don't tell you anything about the board. This is an entire. This could be a whole new board. You'd have no idea.
Did you know who the guy in the audience was? Well, is this somebody you knew?
He was on the show.
Did you know him though from prior?
I never saw him. I never saw. Well, I think I remember.
Crazy though.
I'll tell you off. Well, you know who I think the guy's name was. I could describe him.
So people get that rep sometimes. So there's people that get called joke thieves. That's like that's like calling somebody a pedophile in the comedy community. Like, being a joke thief is the shittiest thing you can do as a comedian. Is to steal somebody's material that they've labored over. But then there's something.
Well, being a pedophile
in the comedy community.
That's probably the worst.
That's
thing.
like separate.
All right.
That's like the Norm Macdonald joke about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
He's like, they said worst thing about Bill Cosby is the hypocrisy. He goes, "I think it was the raping."
I love jokes that are just fucking, there's no turn or like misdirection. It's like, that's the joke.
Funny thing with Norm is even when you know what he's going to say,
it's great.
You're still laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's this like parallel thinking, which is just, you both came up with a similar, like an observation that's maybe common. You both thought of it. You didn't steal it. Like, this is what drives me nuts. There's a bunch of, I call them Italian comics. They're guys who do not comics who are Italian. They're like Italian comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, their whole act is about being Italian.
Right.
Mispronouncing deli meats.
Right.
You know, a lot of yelling and ain't sauce, it's gravy.
Yep. We got beat as kids.
Those guys all fight on social media about, this guy stole my act, that guy stole my act, and I'm like,
that's my prosciutto bit.
I'm like, you ever think it's just a hacky, obvious bit that 35 people have done? Nobody stole it ain't sauce, it's gravy.
Right. There's also 7,000 memes of that.
Yeah. Plastic on the furniture? Nobody stole it. You wrote a shitty joke.
Yeah.
So people, they accuse each other.
I'm literally crossing out 90% of my jokes right now. Plastic on the furniture, sauce ain't gravy.
How much you got to eat. Like, DeVito does bits about being Italian, but they're so
original.
So original. It's the same.
It's because they're personal. They're personal. That's what. If it's personal, it's original, for the most part.
Yeah. So you can talk. Any premise is not off limits. I don't care how many times people. Good example is like online dating. How many comics have talked about online dating?
Right.
I can't, it must be 1,000 of them. But you can still do an original bit on online dating if it's your own viewpoint. But don't do the You gotta stop saying look like your profile picture. Those days are over.
Yeah, well, is parallel thinking the same thing as like you hear something and you thought of it?
No, that's a different thing.
Okay, that's
parallel
like
thinking is you went on a plane trip and I went on a plane trip and we both made some observations about the safety announcements. Those are common bits. You know what I'm saying?
for no joke, a year and a half, I was telling a Brian Regan joke.
Did you ever hear it before?
I love Brian Regan. He's one of my he's my
Yeah, I know
top
that.
3. And a comic was like, "Hey, dude, that's like a Brian Regan joke."
But you didn't know.
And I went, "Really?"
Yeah, but that happens.
And then I watched on YouTube Brian Regan telling that joke, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I love this fucking joke."
Oh, you have heard
So
it.
I'm wondering if I heard it.
Well, that's what Louis accused. He had the whole beef with Dane Cook. And he actually was great because he had Dane Cook on the show, and they kind of like fought about it in a sketch. And he's saying that Dane Cook became so successful that he didn't intentionally steal anything. But sometimes you hear bits and that was Robin Williams' old story.
He stole. They
said Robin Williams was a joke. They said he would stand in the back of the comedy store and take it. But Robin, a lot of people made excuses that his head was going so fast and he would hear something to think is his and take, like accidentally take it.
Can't accidentally take a bit 20 times.
This is funny. I'm with D. Domenico at McGuire's, telling him about a bit that I once wrote. I'm not doing a bit. I go, I once wrote this bit about I hate when friends call you and ask you for a favor, but they never ask for the favor straight up. They'll always call you and be like, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday?" Yeah. And you think it could be something good, and they're like, "Nothing. What are you?" They're like, "Can you take me to the airport?" And you're like, like they shatter your alibi before they ask the question. So I'm telling that bit. I go, I had to say, yeah. Well, what if he had tickets for the Yankees? What if he had Yankee tickets? I do something like that. I'm just running this idea by Anthony. There's an old comic. I'll leave name. He's an older guy. I don't even know if you know him. He has like early onset dementia.
That turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and read.
They get it. Once you said dementia, I was like, funny. I have to hit this button.
Yeah. He was 5 feet away from us while I'm telling Anthony the story. He goes on stage 7 minutes after I told it to Anthony and does the bit.
I know who the comic is.
And Anthony looks at me and goes, "Is he doing the bit you just told me?" I go, verbatim.
Fucking great.
He was like, "Hey, what if they got Yankee tickets?" Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? So He didn't steal it. His brain is broken. He thinks he just wrote it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't intentional. He did it right in front of me. He couldn't have stole it. And if you know the guy, his head's not right.
I know who he is.
You do know him?
I think I could picture who it is.
So anyway, I thought it was really funny. So I get this thing with like there's a compilation. I hate to accuse anybody of joke thief. Like the famous thing is Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
And Rogan, and Carlos Mencia had a weird rebuttal to him. He goes, "Well, I didn't steal any of your jokes. Why do you care?" And Rogan's like, "Because people spend 2 months going to open mics and they write this bit and they go home and it's like an agonizing process to come up with a bit. They do all this work and then you're more famous than them. You take their bit and go do it on HBO. And now you own it. You know what I mean? Once you've done it on HBO, it's yours."
Why? I can't think of the guy's name. Al Jolson was a comedian, right?
No, Al Jolson was just singer in blackface.
I googled Al Jolson.
Yeah, blackface comes up.
He has been dubbed the king of blackface.
Yeah, he was made a fame. He was the biggest entertainer in the country in the 20s.
Okay, maybe you'll know. Who was the comedian? It was in this era of like maybe the 30s, 40s. He would watch the comic on stage, steal their bit, and then sue them. Because
there's rumors about Milton Berle. I don't know if Milton Berle
was that who it was?
I don't know. Milton Berle's huge in the 50s. He had the
Truson would know because I remember
he had the Milton Berle show. And Milton Berle's accused of but when you're the famous one, look, if I do a show and Bill Burr takes my bit,
you're fucked.
Who right? What? You know what I mean? What am I going to say? No, I wrote that. Burr stole my bit.
It's like the student and the teacher. Like when I was in high school, I'd be like, the teacher made fun of me. But like, no, you didn't.
So somebody does your bit. And that was the Rogan's beef for Carlos Mencia. Carlos was huge. Comedy Central. He had a lot of shit going on. A lot of heat.
Mind of Mencia.
Yeah. So he was, going on. He would go on HBO and do somebody's bit. And once he's done it on HBO, it's like a copyright.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were showing people did these bits 4 years ago. And it's always a weird coincidence when you're like, and the guy opened for you for 2 months.
Yeah.
You're like, well, it's kind of a weird coincidence. So I don't know if Carlos Mencia is a joke thief or not. I have no idea. If you go to like YouTube, there's an Amy Schumer compilation. It's a compilation of Amy Schumer with supposed joke. If it was one or two, I'd be like, well, it's parallel thinking. It happens. She writes in volumes. There's like 30 sketches and bits.
And they're side by side.
It's like 30. So after a while, you start to go, see, I don't think Amy was writing most of that. Is the staff to blame? What are you Googling? You're very in deep thought over
I
that.
guess it was Milton Berle.
Oh, it was Milton Berle?
I think he would take the comics joke,
Uncle Milty.
and then that next week he would sue the comic because now that's his joke.
Also very famous, supposedly had a huge penis.
Milton Berle?
Milton Berle, yeah, it's a known Hollywood thing.
White guy?
Yeah, he's a white guy.
Wow.
Uncle Milty.
Huh. Let's try to find that. Milton Berle's penis.
Yeah, see what comes up. Google that. No, supposedly he had a huge penis. That's the only Saturday Night Live, by the way.
Rodney Dangerfield had a huge penis too.
Well, he wasn't hanging out. He was in a bathrobe with no pants on all the time. If you go,
I know who this guy is.
yeah, he was very famous.
He looks like he has a huge penis.
No, yeah, supposedly like crazy penis. What were we talking about? We got
Crazy
sidetracked.
penis. He only has 3 kids. Fucking huge penis. He only has 3 kids. Oh, he had 3 wives though.
Oh, did he? One from each wife?
He was married 3 times. Yeah. You fucking.
I had a train of thought. You crushed it, Milton Berle's
You
penis.
didn't have a train of thought.
I did. I had something.
You brought up Milton Berle's penis.
Yeah, you ran with it.
That's actually okay. He was a vaudeville guy.
And then after, he started in vaudeville, but he was like, his first TV shows really, like the 50s, he was the first variety show really. And he was funny. Uncle Milton Berle was very funny. He's in It's a Mad, Mad World.
The size of his penis is in his Wikipedia. Like that's how big his penis was. And not the size, but like they talk about his penis.
What is it saying?
It says, this is his Wikipedia. Berle was famous within show business for the rumored size of his penis.
You see that?
Yeah.
You know what's really weird? I knew that when I was so into comedy as a kid that I knew who Al Jolson, like at 10 years old, I'm like, oh, Milton Berle.
How big was Al Jolson's penis? You don't know?
They don't talk about that because I think the blackface overshadowed it. Like they never really got to his penis. It was hard to get past all the blackface.
It's like what is it, like New York versus it's like blackface versus big penis.
Yeah. But I knew all this shit when I was a kid. These are weird facts to know as 10-year-olds. Like even knowing who Al Jolson was at like 10 is like a weird thing.
Yeah, there's a huge chunk about his penis. That's crazy.
It's very well known for that. So this whole joke thief thing, it's come up more recently. Like people, it's because of the content on the internet. I think there's so much more out there.
Yeah.
That it's very, I think the problem is I think most people are most comics, and I throw the word comic around loosely, more beginner comics. I just find them very, it's hacky bits.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're really stealing it. It's just like, well, did you have to steal? It's like a very obvious bit. You know what I mean? I'm sure 100 people had that same observation.
Yeah. Airplane stuff, online dating stuff.
Yeah, there's all those bits that I'm like, well, nobody stole it. It's like, if it's pretty obvious, married bits. You always have these people like, I'm a 50-year-old woman and I make fun of my husband. I'm like, well, so does every other 50-year-old woman comic. They're all accusing each other.
Is your husband hairy? Yeah.
They're all accusing each other of stealing their bits. Yeah. And I'm like, nobody stole these bits. Nobody stole your...
Every joke's been told.
Nobody stole your colonoscopy bit.
Yes. Right.
So then I got to bend over a table and I was like, are you going to kiss me? I'm like, oh, dude, nobody's like... And they get literally mad.
The comic before you did that joke.
Yeah, it's terrible. So, but there are actual joke thieves. And I think people are that. Would you want fame? If you were able to steal an act from somebody and you got famous,
no way.
Would you even
no
want
fucking
it?
way. No way.
The whole joy of this is doing the work and getting the response you want.
Everything I do is way better when it's earned. Like, I could pay somebody to put the bricks down in my house, but if I do it, it's way better. It'll come out shittier, but if I physically do it, I'm happier.
I would never want fame.
There was a very special guest at Soul Joe's Comedy Club Lounge tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Louis.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, who's there tonight? Is it Norman?
Louis, Joe List, and Ari Shafir. And Sarah Tolomash.
Is tonight Joe List and friends?
Pretty cool. Wow.
Well, List opened for Louis for a long time.
You don't think I know that? I know everything about Joe List.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
He has acid reflux
and a big penis. I think he has a small penis.
He's got horrible acid reflux.
Yeah. I'd rather earn my keep than it to be handed to me. Like,
I wouldn't even want it. It's a tainted victory.
If Sebastian Maniscalco said, "Here, Mike, here's my career," I don't know.
I wouldn't want it.
That's what I mean.
You know, it would just feel. I mean, I like the money.
Yeah, I guess I have too much pride.
No, but it is. It's you don't get any reward. Like I love doing comedy. Why would I want to do something if I didn't? You know.
Yeah, it's not mine.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what else we got?
That's it.
We got some new bits. Go ahead, you do your.
Hit the button.
I don't know.
Man.
Is it this one?
Yeah, I think so. So,
my memory's so bad. I need little sticky things to put on the colored buttons.
Been
So
the
I know.
same button since
I know
you started.
what's what. This is my favorite. I have money. Still the best.
Yeah,
We'll replace a lot of these. That's permanently.
that should move up to the top.
That should be up on the top.
That should be the intro. The intro. It should be this.
I have money.
Welcome to the Dying is Easy podcast. It shouldn't be fucking the stupid.
so
We have to change this. No.
I kind of like it. It's
All right.
uncomfortable. It's so bad that I've grown to like
Okay.
it.
All
You know
right.
what I mean?
I respect that.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of our theme.
I respect that. That was the early days of the podcast. That was
That's
was that
when-
pre-board? No.
That's when you're doing pre-production work. Now
Yeah.
it's like 8:00. I come in. You're like finishing dinner.
Fucking
Nothing.
Windexing.
You're like, let's do this. Like, what are we talking about tonight?
Yeah.
Every week we're like a viewer mail, and then
Like I love how we outline viewer mail. Like we know it's going to be part of the outline. Remember the first couple of weeks I would send you an email of the outline.
Oh, yeah.
You would revise it, send it back.
I used to send the time like 3 minutes. We talk about this, so now it was always very serious.
I would laugh at that back then. I'm like, why is Ziegler mad?
Because we keep to a
Get a
time.
fucking stopwatch.
Keep the thing. Yeah, keep it moving. I was doing production work. Like this was. Oh, it was big stuff.
Middle of the podcast, got a clock on my 40 during my one of our topics.
Oh, it's-
So we have my family has I actually did a part of this joke this past
Like tonight we were going to talk about joke thieves. We have nothing prepared. We're just like joke thieves.
Yeah,
and
and-
we're like, what about it?
and you can hear. I feel like you can physically hear us thinking.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So some people steal jokes.
Why
Some
do you-
people are just hacks. Okay,
What?
we're not giving any names. So what's the point?
Why do you think I did the Milton Berle penis thing for 10 minutes? Because I knew I had nothing about joke thieves. So
Well, Milton Berle was a joke thief with a big penis.
I know, but I had to go that route because I was so fucking done with the joke thief thing. I was so done. I ran out of stuff.
Sometimes Milton Berle would walk by and people would be like, "That big penis joke stealing
That
son
big-
of a bitch." That's what they would say. All right, do you new bit? I can go home.
Great. Oh, it's 9:00 too. Like,
I got work in the morning.
yeah,
You only one?
barely.
It is bad.
So I did this on Saturday. I did okay. I did a small part of it. I wrote more of it.
I'll tell you if it did okay. I was in the audience.
Isn't that funny?
Like it did okay. I'm like, I'll let you know if it did okay.
We have a family group chat, and there should be one group chat, but everybody wants to talk shit, so you make other group
The
chats.
side group chats.
You make side group chats and remove the person that you're talking shit about. I'm in 98 family group chats because everybody's just talking shit.
And it's hard to respond then because you got to track where you're sending your replies.
Exactly. It's way too much going on.
It's a grid.
So my mom makes a new group chat every day. We've named 3 group chats. Mom, delete this. Do not use. Don't respond if mom sends a text. These are the group chats that my mom is still sending. That was one of the funniest things Jamie ever did. Jamie made the group chat. Mom, delete this. It's fucking funny. And her new thing is now she'll just add people that don't belong, that she doesn't.
Accidentally?
So we're planning my dad's birthday. It's my siblings, my mom and dad, and Dr. Buglioni.
Because she accidentally just added
She's
him to
just
the group.
so
he's in a group text
yeah.
that,
Who's coming?
that he can't get out of.
Can you bring dessert, Dr. Buglioni?
That's so fun. Does he ever come to anything?
Dr. Buglioni? He doesn't.
Yeah, maybe he showed. Maybe what if he just showed?
He's my parents' foot doctor.
That would be so funny if you thought he was
If he
actually
showed up.
should have showed up. You're like, what are you doing
He
here?
he brings dessert.
And he's like, I got a text.
He's my parents' foot doctor, which actually is I could add this to it. I was at my parents' house the other day, and on their calendar, it was a Monday. It said 9 a.m. foot. It's like what's happening at 9 a.m. with your foot, Dad? So my mom accidentally added me to a group chat with her sisters. So my mom and her four sisters, my 4 aunts, and me. I got a text one day. It said, "Lynn, how are your nipples?" A lot of nipple talk on this podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Apparently,
What happened to our nipples?
they're shrinking.
Is that a real thing? Are you making this up?
They're shrinking. But don't worry, my other aunt also had the same problem. So now it's...
Is it genetic? The nipple shrinking?
I don't know.
Calcagno gene?
This is my mom's side. I don't take it. I don't take anything. I don't take any traits from my mom.
That's the Irish side, right?
Right.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of the Irish.
So
known for shrinking nipples.
Shrinking nipples. My other aunt had the same thing happen. So now the group text becomes WebMD.
I'm just curious. I got to go back to this. Like, your nipples are like, how big do your nipples have to be to notice they've gotten smaller?
That's a part of the joke. Who's measuring their nipples?
Yeah, like if my nipple shrank a mil, I would never know.
If my nipples went away, I would notice.
How long would it take you before you notice you even have nipples? Like
Jamie would have to point it out.
Yeah, she'd be like,
well, like,
where are your nipples?
Next summer, I'd find out. I'd put a bathing. I go, oh fuck, I have no nipples.
That's so funny. Yeah, how do you notice shrinking nipples?
Who's measuring their nipples?
How would you even tell? That's weird.
I forgot to write that down.
Yeah, put that down. That's the.
You
didn't do this at the party. You didn't do nipple stuff.
I didn't go this
you did the
far
group text stuff
because
well, it's funny.
I didn't go this far in because it's way too new. And my sister got involved. She's into like she was into like holistic medicine, like rocks.
I know what you're talking about.
So like she's like
stones,
yeah,
energy,
she's like
crystals.
So I come home one day, my sister, she's waving a rock over my aunt's
Nipple.
tits just to figure out what's going on.
She just looks at you. She's like, amethyst. You're like, yeah. Like, I don't know.
And so that's the group chat. It's about nipples, and then they just talk about who they think is in the closet in the family. Like, oh, this
who's gay?
Cousin Billy's gay. He doesn't know it yet. Yeah,
that's very funny. Yeah, I hate being because I can't. I'm a droid. I don't have Apple. I can't get out of group text.
Well, you can mute them, but
I don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it.
No, I don't think you can.
You can. You can.
You sure?
You can turn off. You can mute the group text.
Because I tried to delete it, and I like deleted the group text, and then I got every message came in. So it was like 6 people in a group text. I got everybody's message. They're all in my phone. So I got 6. Everybody's message came in separately. So instead of one group text, I was just now getting 6 different messages.
Yeah, you could fix that. I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Droids are.
Also, you have the Droid 1, don't you? Like,
I have the prototype.
Right.
The prototype droid. It's in my DeLorean.
What's your?
I don't have that much this week. I've written a lot of new stuff, and I was happy with that. This week,
what'd you do on Saturday that you haven't done on the podcast?
I did a lot of it. I did on the podcast. We've been doing this.
I'm saying
a lot of that stuff I've talked about on the podcast. This was like I go to the gym. I'm still obsessed with Corona. All the jokes I'm writing are about Corona because I just don't understand. Like none of this makes sense. The policies that are supposed to protect us. I go, this isn't helping anyone. So like when I go to the gym, the lockers are all 14 feet apart. They're all closed. But in the gym, the equipment's 6 inches apart. So I'm working out right next to a guy. And I love how the people who work there are like trying to make it seem like they're on top of it. So the guy comes over to me. One of the like managers walk in. He's like, yeah, we got the HEPA filters in the air conditioners. And there's a guy like 4 inches. I'm like, did you put a HEPA filter in him? Yeah. Does he have a HEPA? Like he's breathing on my neck.
Right. You have to install a HEPA filter in that guy.
Yeah. I'm like, what do I care about your air conditioning unit? So when you walk into the gym, they ask you questions. You have to check. You do them at work, right? You do the question. You have to do the questions at work.
I think you did this on the podcast.
Did I do this?
I don't know.
But now I think it's funny because I might have mentioned the questions because it's like an honor system. But now I've noticed the questions have evolved. I've been going now for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It started with, have you been in contact with anybody who has?
Yep.
Have you blah, blah, blah? Do you have any symptoms? You go, no. And everybody just says no.
Yeah.
So then I noticed like 4 days later, the questions went from that to, have you been in contact with anybody who has corona? Yeah. Like they just power through them. They don't even say the words.
Right.
You're like, no. Like I went in the other day and they're like, have you traveled to a state that's in the last 14 days that's on the travel restriction list? And I go, is South Carolina on the restriction list? They go, yes. I go, no. I haven't.
Yeah.
Like we're on an honor system now? That's how we're protecting ourselves? Obviously, if I went to South Carolina and showed up at the gym, I'm lying. I'm not gonna all of a sudden break down to the 18-year-old kid checking me in.
I also think every state besides the tri-state area is a
No, this is some that aren't. Like, you can go to Pennsylvania, you can go to Connecticut, you can go to Jersey. You can stay low. You can't go, like, to the South. California is off the travel ban list. How is that possible?
Off it? Meaning you can go
to
there?
California. California.
So you can fly across the country, but I can't go to
California. You can come to New York. But California is one of the highest. It could be because of the fires. Maybe they're like, people got to get out of there. You can't breathe.
I don't know.
But California's off the list. I was talking to D. Domenico. He told me, and I was like, "No, you're making a mistake." And he Googled it. He's like, "No, California's not on the list." That's crazy to me.
Wow.
But now when I walk in the gym, this is all the kid says to me. It's like it's a different kid every time too. I walk in, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" They take my temperature, and he goes, "No to all the questions."
Yeah.
And I go, "I don't know if this is no to all the questions.
Yeah.
That's pretty broad."
Yeah.
Like, no to all the questions. I go, "Sure." Like, no to all the questions. Like, who is this helping?
Right. Well, they have to do it.
They have to do it,
but they have to have a record of.
But there's no. It serves zero purpose. Who is this protecting? Like, they just gave us busy work.
I'm trying to think of like.
The gym's disgusting. I don't care. Like, I'm not worried about it. But this whole dance we have to do to act like we're being safe.
I'm trying to think about.
And it does make me mad because why? I go to LA Fitness and look at but Governor's Comedy Club that has UV lighting and HEPA filters and I'm behind plexiglass, like, we can't open. That does bother me. Like, when you think about that, I'm like,
Yeah.
What is this? Cuomo was talking about, like, a Madison Square Garden, even if it's social distance, now you still got to have the people going down the corridors. I go, there's 50 people at Governor's. There's no corridors. He's comparing it to, like, the Garden. That was my rant. I was an angry rant. I was very Lewis Black. You see how mad I got?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like another angle of you walking into the gym, but I can't. So I don't know.
I was wondering what you were deep thought there.
Yeah, I was thinking about Milton Berle's penis. Are we doing this right? Was that over? I don't know.
I've been very angry for 3 days.
It's hot.
Did you sense it?
Yeah,
I have.
You're angry.
I'm angry.
We got to wrap this up because we're gonna talk in my driveway for an hour. So this is it, guys. Thank you. Another episode of the Dying is Easy podcast. As always, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, I think Amazon. And email us, Dying is Easy podcast.
Yeah, email us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fucking, really, this week was disgusting. Email us, dyingiseasypodcast@gmail.com. Did you hit it twice?
No, that's crazy. And this is, even if you don't like this podcast, you should continue to listen because I think you're hearing us starting to spiral downwards.
Yeah, this is going to be a bad one.
Like, you can watch us in our demise, and every week you should tune in, and this is going to get worse and worse.
I'm going to lose something. Like, my house will be taken from me, my job. I'm going to get canceled. So I'm going to say something bad. I know it. And that's about it. Thank you, guys. Bye.